welcome to our relationship podcast with Emmy and Iffy, where we wade through the internet's mess so you don't have to. Talking way too much as always is your boy Iffy Wadiway, and I'm joined by my lovely partner,
Emily Louise.
Yes, and we have two amazing guests here. What's good? We got Chris Mejia and Siri Dahl.
What's
holding
good?
It down. Oh man,
I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah. You said like a lot of bass in your voice. You a lot of bass in your voice.
That was very like after school special vibes with that. What's good? That felt like, hello everybody.
Yes. All right. Yes, this is the first episode of the new season of the pod, season 2, where we're on video. It's here now. The video's here. We did it. We did it.
I lost my twinkle noise.
Yeah. You did lose the twinkle noise. You always lose something in alchemy, you know? Yeah, it's a full
upset
metal.
about it.
Yeah. Was it like?
It's like it's one of the default noises on the Rodecaster, but it's just like a twinkle noise.
Yeah. We'll get that twinkle back soon. Yes. We're gonna kick this off with check-in. So now we're starting the pods off with the check-in, where we talk about things we are excited about that are coming up, or things that we've been excited about, happy about, discoveries, new things. I think the first thing we have to say to kick this off is that me and Em, we're not girlfriend and boyfriend anymore. We're fianced.
We're fianced.
We're fianced.
No, that would be crazy if that's how y'all announced the breakup.
Yeah. So to start the pod off, we're not dating anymore.
Well, someone was like, "That is your ex-boyfriend now," and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, every night you coming back to your ex, huh? Yeah.
You know me.
Yes.
Real backsliding.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was super exciting. It was
Congratulations.
You were there.
I was there.
It was a good time. Yeah.
Pouring rain.
Yeah, truly. It was so wet. Like it was like I was like, man, I don't remember a New Year's Eve being this rainy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where was I on New Year's? Oh, it was rainy on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Pouring rain.
Yeah, it was hella rainy.
Yeah.
But you know what? But through the water ashes, your love strengthened.
Okay. I thought you were going to say floated to the top because we're talking about water, but you said strengthened.
That analogy was done for from the beginning because I said ashes.
Yeah.
I was like, how's he gonna wrap that up?
I didn't know.
Going?
I was really hoping I was going to find something.
Yeah, you did not. Oh, man. Yeah. Is there anything that y'all are excited about or happy?
Do you want to go first?
You go first.
As I mentioned before we started recording, in March, my family, we're doing a family trip to Italy.
Ooh.
And I've never been abroad.
Oh, wow.
I've only been to Canada, which, yes, is a different country, but I've always considered it like Diet America.
Yeah.
Or America Zero, all of the fun with none of the calories. And then I've been to the Dominican Republic when I was a kid, but I went to go visit family. So this is like my first time like really being in another place where culturally it's going to be different than what I'm used to. So I'm excited to do that. I'm close with my immediate family, and my girlfriend's coming along too, so it's gonna be a fun time.
Is this the first like girlfriend goes on family outing type beat?
Yes, actually, because before I was in years ago, I was in a long distance relationship, and originally she was going to go on a cruise with us. We were going to go on a Carnival cruise, which if you've never been on a Carnival cruise, don't. I found out it is the Walmart of cruises. And I also found out I'm not a big cruise guy. I feel like a cruise is one of those things you don't realize you're not into until you're like, it's way too late.
Yeah. Until you're stuck on the boat already.
Yes. And the entire time my family kept being like, oh, this is not that good. But when we went on Royal Caribbean, it was so much better. It's like, why the fuck did we not go on Royal Caribbean?
You had someone ruining your cruise.
Yeah.
You weren't able to fully immerse yourself because the whole time you're being told about it better. Because my first cruise was Carnival, and I was a cruise guy after it. I was like, cruises. Because for me, it was a family cruise. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to do this with some friends. And then I've done Joko Cruise, and I was right about that. Joko Cruise rips.
I've only done Joko Cruise. I've never done like a regular cruise. And I was like, I feared this one ruined all of their cruises for me because it's so great.
It's good. Damn. Yeah. So it was, I'm willing to do another cruise. I'm not like boxed out on cruises yet, but yeah, this is the first time where like a significant other, she's met my family before, and my family loves her, but this is the first time where we're doing like a really honestly like traveling in general together, because we've done like a getaway in Temecula, but we haven't like, oh actually no, that's a lie, she came to Florida for a wedding with me, so technically we've traveled together, but so yeah, it's a big for. I'm excited to travel abroad. I've always wanted to go to Europe. But so I'm excited for that.
Ooh, okay. Yes. What about you, Siri?
It's exciting. Well, shit, everyone travel stuff. So I'm traveling in March too. Going to New York for a rugby tournament.
Oh, wow. That rips. Okay. You're watching or
Men or
participating?
women's?
Well,
Yeah.
we're going for the women's. It's
Yeah.
all the rugby happening, but I'm going with a group of girls from the rugby team that I used to play on.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
So everyone's really gay, and we're gonna go watch a bunch of hot ladies play rugby.
I mean, that sounds like a fun trip. Like if you put,
Very skilled hot ladies. To be clear.
look, I love me some rugby. You love, yeah. Do you ever think you're gonna like get back in a rugby?
No,
or?
hell no. Oh my God, I'm 37. I'm not asking for trouble like that.
Yeah. All right.
Please my bones.
I only played for 3 years.
Yeah.
And just like kind of like launched into it not knowing what the fuck I was doing. And I'm lucky that I didn't break more bones. I broke my pinky and a toe.
It's underrated how
I'm very lucky I came out relatively unscathed.
Yeah.
I never got a concussion.
it's such a, I don't know if violence the word, but it's such an physical sport.
Yeah.
Like almost, I would say more so than American football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the big
there's
deal.
minimal padding,
Yeah.
like, which actually I think reduces the rate of injury in like CTE and stuff.
Oh, really?
Concussions still happen, but it's like you're very aware that you're not invincible.
Yeah. And I think
So you still have to be like pretty body conscious, and also the rules are obviously different about like how you can tackle and stuff like that to like preserve people's physical integrity. But
I was just telling our friend Lindsay that I think I would be into roller derby, and I was like, oh, but I'm 39 years old. I can't start playing that now.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
Yeah, but I shouldn't.
But like, is that really what you want for yourself?
I was like, we already snowboard and stuff. I don't need another thing that I might get a concussion from.
Y'all are right. It would be weird to go into a highly physical sport in your late 30s, like hockey or something.
You are younger than me.
But not by much.
Hey, but there's plenty of padding in hockey.
Well, I remember, so there was this thing where all the improv guys out here got into like doing basketball. Like it was like Sunday hoops. Like everyone like was meeting up on Sundays and doing pickup basketball games. And I remember within like a month, you were just looking at the improv stage and seeing people in ankle braces and all this. And I was like, this is just basketball, dog. Like, like simply running, has just like cooked a whole wing of male improvisers.
Because they still do a bunch of them still do basketball. Because Riza plays. Yeah. She got suspended from her season for just starting a fight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Riza was part of the other kind of boom in basketball where all of the women who did improv were joining these like leagues, like these rec leagues and Pistol Shrimps. Because I remember Aubrey Plaza was in.
I saw that movie.
Yeah. Oh, so the movie did come out. So that's what's so funny.
I saw it at South by Southwest, I think.
Yeah, but they did a movie about it where these like comedians did it. I should probably take the jump on washed up comedians playing hockey. Get there before it'll be me at South by. But before we jump into this, we like to start this pod off with our guests specifically saying something nice about themselves because we don't do it enough. So Chris, you can start with say something nice.
This is honestly the hardest thing anyone when I've done a podcast has asked me to do because I really struggle with positive affirmation about myself. I am a cheerleader for even strangers who I don't even know. Yeah. But myself, the negativity in my brain is the hardest working person in the world. So I had to think, and I found something. It is, I don't think I give myself enough credit for how resilient I am.
Hell yeah.
I think oftentimes, like especially restarting, not only just as a human being in a new city, but as a comedian in a new scene, it's really, really hard. But at the same time, I'm giving myself props for the fact of that I am sticking to things, I am trying my best, I am continuing to put myself out there, which is a really hard, scary thing to do, especially someone like me. I have social anxiety. I'm always a very awkward person, especially around people I don't know. So I'm giving myself props for being resilient, for sticking to it, and just powering through the things that make me uncomfortable that I need to power through, because growth only comes from when you leave your comfort zone.
Nice. Love that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Beautifully
Siri.
said.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I can't tell if this is a genuine stretch or a
It
delay.
really is. I just thought, I don't know, like y'all.
Just gotta get the
I haven't
positive
been stretching
affirmation out of her
today.
body.
Yeah.
I woke up, I ate, I got ready, I came over here in my tiny car. Like that. So okay. Chris, you kind of stole my answer.
Oh, did I really?
I did. Yeah.
We can tag team
There
it.
can be,
Yeah.
you
It's an
can-
alley-oop. It's an
yeah,
alley-oop.
it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be.
I love it though. I love it. Grapevines think alike. Yeah, I mean, mine. As soon as you texted me, like, hey, you want a little hint about the question I'm going to ask you in case you need to think about it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even need to think about it. I'm very resilient. Like,
Yeah.
And that's like always a positive thing. I like to remind myself about myself.
Yeah.
Because I've been through a lot.
Yeah.
Of some dumb bullshit, some really dumb bullshit.
Yeah. But also,
I'm here.
You're so right. I oftentimes are giving you credit of kind of being the first to like really ring the alarm loudly about like Project 2024 and 2025.
Although there technically has been a project for like every year since
Yeah.
1985.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong, but 2025 is like
Project 2025 and really like
Sorry, that's the same energy that people be like, the world's gonna end in 2012. Sorry, I did my math wrong. 2013.
yeah, oops, man, 2014. Yeah.
Heritage Foundation has been publishing a project for like 30 years. So yeah.
And and you kind of foresaw a lot of this stuff, and you were front and center, and it is very hard, especially I think anyone who does like any type of for lack of a better word, like content creation. I was gonna say like producing art publicly, being like a public facing figure. It is easier to be voiceless and then live in this gray area where everyone gets to like you without having to think about any of the things that they're doing or any of like their politics or any, like I see it in all industries, and I've even seen the ones who are pretending to be, silent, and that behind the scenes they're, whack.
Yeah.
But to do that, and then to do that, as an adult actress who like everyone thinks it's easy to like alley-oop, and you just like the way I just see you just roll off of it, and you're like, anyway, so I'm lifting weights. So anyway,
I'm done talking about this. This is what I'm doing.
yeah.
But that's the duality of human beings, where you can just be like, here's what's going on in the world and why it fucking sucks and this and that. And then the next IG story is just like, oh, I made cupcakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta do both, or else I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's like,
Like I have to turn off that part of my brain.
right.
I just stopped giving a shit a long time ago about like what anyone had to say about what I have to. Like, I just don't care.
Right.
Like,
Well, yeah, because it is just very funny because it is like, if you're like going through your like page, like I don't think it like screams like this person does porn. So like you being like, ah, you're doing this is like, well, you obviously consume it. So why do you think it's a gotcha? And I find that as someone who's just been not only watching porn but just like being on the internet online, this kind of like dual line people try and like walk, where they try and like, you know, shame but also consume at the same time. It's like, I don't know if you don't realize like the two sides of you are like at odds, because you know, if they listened and your like favorite porn star was like, okay, you're right, I'm done, you'd be like, wait.
Yeah. Which I swear to God is sometimes what people like want, but I'm like, you actually don't really want that. Like, and I know what you're talking about, because I like posted a thing on Instagram the other day, and it's this guy who like was like trying to convince me I should not use the OnlyFans platform because it's such pure evil, and then
great, pay me more money to use something.
Yeah, and then I responded and called him out for like his complete bullshit, and then the next place he went was like, well, you know, I'm a fan. Like, I consume this. Like, it's like, oh my God.
You shouldn't use, Siri, you shouldn't use OnlyFans. You should just be sending it to me directly.
Yeah, you should just be coming direct to this address.
It's like, it's not your...
essentially like, I disagree with women doing porn and making their own money at it, because I would prefer that they do the porn and just personally text message all of it to me for free.
That's
until the day I die.
Cat Black just did a really good like kind of like breakdown explainer, being like, oh no, the problem here isn't that the porn exists, it's that the women are in control of it. You liked it better when you didn't know that.
Right.
You know, when but like, it's funny because even when you lay it out that way, people don't even get it. You know, like they're like, oh snap. But yeah. Also, you know, Chris, you know, yes, you are resilient too. I want to tell you, yes, Andy, you too.
I thought you were like, you should also get on OnlyFans.
Yeah. I'm trying to see.
I was gonna say what like when COVID happened, and like, and correct me if I'm wrong, like that's where, at least as an outsider, it felt like that's when the OnlyFans platform blew up.
Oh yeah, it was crazy, because I've had it since like 2016, and there was like nobody on it, and then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening?
It's been around since 2016.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, like, you know, it's so I was just explaining, I think it was on a podcast or something, about like groups like the Heritage Foundation that like have been fighting porn behind the scenes for so long, and I only know because Gustavo, who's reporting for XBiz, I like coached his improv team once, and so we've just stayed in touch. And so I was like,
and I love that. When I found that out, I was like,
and so like it was real funny, because when, you know, OnlyFans was trying not to do porn, they were like, why are they you know, not doing porn? I was like, well, it's because these groups are targeting the credit card companies, and the credit card companies are pressuring the site. But then what I loved about that, which I feel like we don't talk about enough, when all the performers were like, okay, well, you're not going to make money. They're like, you're right. And they said no, and then it's still around. And I was just wish more companies knew that they can just tell the credit card companies, nah. Because like the credit card companies is just a third party. Like they can not use your site, but if you're just going to exist without them, they're going to be like, well, we want to be in on that. You know, so it's like, it takes
billions and billions of dollars.
And money is always going to talk the loudest.
Exactly. And that's why it's like so frustrating when you see so many companies fold to these, you know, these like Christian groups that are like, there's millions of us and we'll stop using your product. And I was like, I need you to understand, they weren't using it in the first place, and even if they are, they're not gonna stop.
Yes,
you know?
they're still gonna use it.
Yeah, like
for sure.
Like remember the Bud Light boycott? You know, like it's like
I was like, no, and I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, it's like I just need some businesses to grow some balls and not be afraid, because I know that people look at Christianity as this like number one group, but I, as someone who like grew up Catholic and then was going to Baptist church and all that, Christians are so divided. If someone's telling you that a group of Christians are doing anything, that's a lie. That is a lie.
As someone grew up Christian youth group kid, not that anymore. I was on the porn sites hard.
Oh yeah.
And so because of that, it's like
figuratively and literally.
I can neither confirm or deny. But very much it's that hypocrisy of they try to eliminate all that stuff. It's like, nah, your kids are on those websites.
And they probably are too, but they're just never gonna say
I mean,
that.
the stats really speak for themselves.
Yeah.
It's Pornhub does their Pornhub Insights at the end of every year, and it's always really revelatory. I mean, it is sad now because if you look at their most recent insights, it's like 25 states have passed shitty
trans
surveillance laws.
Surveillance
like
laws.
age verification laws, which really they're not. It's identity verification.
Yeah.
It applies to everyone.
Yeah, show us who you are.
Who visit the site has to upload a government ID to visit the site. And so since Pornhub's like, we're not going to do that to our, well, that's bad. We don't want to collect that data and put it at risk. We're just going to block IP addresses from states that pass these laws.
Yeah.
So the most recent Pornhub Insights is like half the country's blacked out because they have no data because they've had to block the IP addresses from 25 states that have passed
Interesting.
verification laws. But historically, still, the stats really show it's like the reddest states that have the most hostile anti-LGBTQ laws. Over and over again, the top search category is like trans women. You know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
They want to take the rights away from trans women, but they're gonna
Take that
jerk off
pipe.
to it all day.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
We're scared that we're into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you just admit that. Listen, who hasn't watched Fuda before?
Yeah.
Just you're allowed to enjoy. Don't be terrible to a group of people because you can't come to terms with what you like.
Well, that's so funny because we come to this conclusion on the pod a lot, where a lot of times it is just like discomfort with something that makes you feel like you're not the status quo, and so you lash out. Which is a great segue to finally jump into the internet's mess.
I love internet mess.
Okay, so our first Reddit relationship advice thread is my 34 male wife's 31 female close friend 31 female got divorced. I've been struggling with this for a long time and genuinely need outside perspectives. My wife and I have a child together and she is currently pregnant. We've been married for several years. She also has a very close friend she's known for over a decade. Recently, that friend went through a divorce. From what I understand, she initiated it and believes her ex-husband was emotionally abusive. Since the divorce, my wife and her friend talk almost every day. A lot of those conversations revolve around men, relationships, women's rights, and negative experiences with husbands. Over time, I've noticed a real change in how my wife talks and thinks. During arguments, she has explicitly mentioned divorce multiple times. This never came up before. I also saw some of their messages, not proud of it, but it happened, and a lot of it feels very anti-men in general. I feel like my wife is being heavily influenced by her friends' trauma and experiences and is starting to affect our marriage. I'm scared because we have a child, another baby on the way, and I genuinely don't want to lose my family. I'm not trying to control who my wife talks to, and I understand her friend is going through something painful, but I feel helpless watching my marriage get damaged by outside influence. How do you handle a situation where a partner is being strongly influenced by a friend's divorce? Is it ever appropriate to set boundaries around that kind of influence? How do I talk to my wife about this without sounding controlling or dismissively of women's rights or her feelings? I'm open to honest feedback, even if it's uncomfortable. I just want to do the right thing.
You know, have you ever thought about how or why it became a thing culturally that we try to teach children, like, don't gossip, it's rude.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's really, like, laying it all out there.
That's
like,
what I was going to say.
He's like, I wish my wife would stop gossiping with her friends.
Well, God. What's so interesting about it is, like, we've read so many of these threads. So, like, so many threads. And usually, a lot of times when something like this is happening, where you think that someone's being influenced based on another experience versus what's happening, there's things like, I treat her well, like we talk, we've checked in and all that, and like there's no kind of information that he's providing as the original poster to be like, hey, like, this seems weird because I'm doing all these things and it seems like it's being ignored because of this. Yeah. And it's a lot of like, we're having a lot of problems because her friend got a divorce, but partially, I think one of two things could be happening. One, this is true. That the projection based on hearing her friend out could be happening, or hearing her friend go through a divorce made the aspect of divorce less scary and an actual like solution, because she doesn't feel the kind of like societal need to keep a relationship going if it doesn't work. And now that is causing her to like actually finally voice the changes that she wants to see and things that she wants. I'm not saying any of this is true because we have none of that information, but like, you know, whenever like, it is like interesting that, you know, he's not talking about like what they're arguing about, him and his wife.
He keeps saying women's rights, and I was
And
like,
women's
what does
rights,
that have to do with her getting divorced?
I know, I was like,
that's like, is the right that he's concerned about the right for his wife to ask for a divorce?
Right.
Well,
It felt unnecessary to throw that in the
multiple
list
times.
of topics they talk
It
about.
feels like it could be a thing too, where it's like they're clearly talking to each other, and she's like, "Oh, this is why I got divorced," and she's like, "Oh, what's happening in my relationship that I also don't like?" And realizing that like there might be some things that she's listening to someone and being like, "Oh yeah, that's happening in my relationship, and I also don't like it," and didn't realize it until right now.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah, 'cause
like,
oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say real quickly that sometimes you don't realize something's a problem until, like you said, where
You
someone
see it in
else,
someone else, yeah.
and you're like, oh shit, that's actually not okay.
yeah.
And like, also at the same time, like, I don't know, if you're a dude, like if you're a cis dude and you're dating someone who is a woman or identifies as a woman and they complain about men, you have to be like, well, yeah, I'm aware of the world and I have to allow them to express their frustration about it.
Yeah, we live in a patriarchal society, and you know there are a lot of things that's happening, and I think you can, you know, also it's just like everything is just so generalized in this that it's making it like
Even he admits to like behind her back getting her phone and reading her text messages. And the way
That happens a lot on this Reddit.
He's like, oh, it just happened. I'm not proud of it.
You're not proud of it,
but I do
messages just fell on my lap.
Like I'm detecting zero accountability.
Yeah. And
He's like, I did put her phone over her face to open it when she was sleeping, but
God.
I know it's so wild, and it's just I'm not proud of it. Okay, let's move on. Also, like from what I understand, she initiated it and believes her husband was emotionally abusive. I'm like what do you
She
mean?
believes.
But she believes.
I mean, jury's out, but she believes.
Yeah, so that was my first like, you know, and then there's all this, because I'm like, so what's happening, dog? Where you like, your wife is talking to a friend who dealt with an emotional abuser, and now she's kind of seeing like, oh yeah, some of that is bad behavior, and you went through her phone. It doesn't seem like you've come clean to her about invading her privacy at all.
I can't decide, because he says something like, it's a lot of it's about hating men.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it could just be because she got divorced, but also, y'all are the predators. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
So like, you got to know that she's not necessarily talking about you when they're talking about men, but also like, I was like, oh, is there a different aspect where he's like, maybe they like each other because they're best friends? Like, oh, what if she wants to leave me for this other woman?
Oh yeah, like he has some like.
Oh no.
Fear. I know.
Oh no.
Because there isn't really any explanation about it at all, but I was like, those are like the two options. Either I'm upset that you're talking about how much you hate men, or I think you're gonna leave me for this woman.
Yeah.
Maybe she should, truthfully. But okay, I also I just take issue in general with the kind of like concept of like I'm looking for a word with like divorce contagion.
Yeah.
Like the idea that like
It's spreadable.
that like everything was fine and normal in my relationship
that's
until my
not real.
wife's BFF got a divorce, and now it's like, wow, suddenly my wife thinks the idea of divorce sounds so fun and great. It's like that's
No one does that.
no
one thinks divorce is an option unless they are actually like, I need to get out
it's like
of this.
such a moot point that that's like how it kind of originated, and he clearly is too dumb to actually understand that.
Yeah, it's not like join at a party where you're like, oh, fine, I'll dabble.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like
I'll dabble in divorce.
the energy.
Throwing the word out there during an argument. Just
let's open our relationship, but in a legal way.
I think that's what I'm kind of getting from this is like when you're really reading this as a whole and like taking it all in at like the face value of what this person is saying, he's basically like dismissing any concerns in their arguments and just putting it on like, oh, you just only feel this way because of friends, which is like wild. Like, because I'm like, okay, so then you're not listening to any of the concerns being brought up. You're not taking it seriously, and then it's not you, it is this friend. That's why the arguments are happening. And divorce, as someone who's been divorced and you have friends, like it's not easy. It's not something that just pops up. It's not easy because it is a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, and I think, you're talking about, the kids. It's like she's actively carrying one of them. So I think the kids are on her mind since one is literally still in her. So I think, he's kind of like framed this in a way where she's being influenced by this divorced friend and is bringing up this nonsense, and he's just trying to save his marriage, but not listening to any of her claims and
or
not
doing any follow-up questions
or any work. But I'm reading her text messages, and it's still, it's very odd.
My favorite TikToks are like when people are complaining about their partners, and then all the comments are just like, and then they just ask for a divorce out of nowhere. When it's like, no, we've been complaining about this shit the whole time. You were just not talking to me about it, or we're not actively trying to fix it.
That's what I was, this whole time hearing this, I was just like, this all could be solved with an actual, like, genuine, like, communication of, like, asking, like, honestly, I'm a big advocate for couples should go to couples therapy, not just because things are going bad.
I definitely don't think you should wait till it's bad to go. I think it's good to check in. It builds a culture of like talking about things openly without needing, it to be an argument.
And skills to talk about things that are uncomfortable.
And having an unbiased third party to be able to like fairly, I don't think that's a word. In a fair way.
It is now.
Fairly. In a fair way, be like, not that, oh, someone's right, someone's wrong, but more of like helping you navigate without feeling like, well, you're not seeing my side. And it's like, let me help you see both people's sides so that you can reach this conclusion. Because it sounds like this guy is just like creating this like conspiracy.
100%.
And instead of just actually listening to his partner and being like, tell me more about how you feel. Why is like, you're bringing up divorce a lot. Like, do you want, like, having a conversation and listening? And instead, it's just like, I'm going to look through your phone. And it's like, well, sweetie, if you're looking through phones.
Especially because you have like the perfect in, right? Where you're like, hey, your friend is going through this thing. I am hearing things that are concerning to me. We should talk about that and see where we need to go moving forward, because I don't want you to feel like you're just getting all this negative stuff and not getting any like positive reinforcement from our relationship.
Exactly,
I'm just surprised, like the more I think about it, the more we discuss this, I'm thoroughly surprised that this couple did not already get a divorce a long time ago.
Sometimes there's updates.
Like, how did they last this long?
Because they weren't talking about anything. They were just ignoring it.
It really seems like this is a situation where you definitely need to, normally we're like, you just need to talk to your partner. For me, it's like, you need to start listening to your partner. Stop doing that.
This dude's making his wife sound like she's like this divorce sleeper cell agent.
Come to the dark side.
Or like she's just been in hibernation this whole time, and then
Agent of divorce.
and then just heard the magic code word from her friend, and she's just like, time to destroy everything that I have. It's like, no, bro. Like, the likelihood of this guy's wife being someone who is so easily swayed by a friend to consider divorce because their friend's getting, the likelihood of that is so microscopic that it's like you have to take a step back and realize you're being what's the word I'm looking for? You're being unnecessary right now. Like, let's look at the logic and let's communicate so you can realize, oh, I'm wildin'. I hear you now. I hear where you're coming from. I agree. Men suck. Let's move on. Or we're gonna get pizza tonight. Like, just have that conversation. But instead, this guy is just creating this conspiracy. And
Also, I will say, as someone with plenty of other femme friends, they were talking about this shit way before they got divorced.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I actually think, and I just thought about this right now, the biggest point is, if it was a huge problem and if the problem was you, she would not be having these phone calls in front of you.
Yeah.
You would not hear any of this
very
information.
true.
Yeah.
That is very
Yeah.
true.
Because, like, yeah, if you're a problem and you're talking to your best friend about it, you're not talking about the problem in front of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a level of fed up if you are talking about the
Yes.
problem in front of your
Yeah,
phone.
you want them to know.
Or I'm so tired of you, but once again, the likelihood of that is not
Yeah.
as big. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that's that. Maybe start listening to your wife, talk to her, and start listening to the complaints instead of blaming the friend. And I think things should turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if not, she might end up being an agent of the NFFDTF.
Which stands for.
No Fault Feminist Divorce Task Force.
Yes. Yes, he's definitely made that up. And if he didn't, he heard this. And now,
Let's get buttons. This is huge.
so at the top, I forgot.
Actually, that sounds like a secret force that we all need to sign NDAs on.
I forgot to crack open an email before we got there because we do have some emails. So this is from a listener. Thank you so much, and we'll have y'all diving in.
This is
I'll
from a
read
real
this.
person that sent us an email.
Yeah, I know. When you say it that way, it sounds fake.
In Reddit, I'm always like, this could be a real person
Yeah.
or not.
Right.
Yeah. He goes, hello, Emmy. Hello, Iffy. First of all, thank you for making the effort to make this amazing podcast. I love that you don't easily judge people and try to understand why somebody might act like an idiot. You just heard it. It feels very empathetic to me and always brightens my day to listen to you and your cats. We're in a studio now. They can't make too much noise.
You could bring tuna here.
At first, I wanted to message you to tell you how much I'm enjoying the pod and listen to you talk. Then something happened, and I could use some advice. You can call me Suki if you want to read it out. Sorry, it got really long. Never apologize for the long. We need all the information.
Context
We
is
need all
great.
the tea.
Details. Give it to them.
All right. Over the past month, I've been dealing with physically and emotionally taxing events: a bicycle accident, a long-lasting cold, and a great but exhausting weekend. Party with friends, family stuff, and a whole day of D&D. I was already depleted when a close friend came to visit. I'm generally introverted, and the presence of someone in my apartment made it almost impossible for me to recover. No matter how much I tried to create distance, his constant presence prevented me from resting. He is extroverted, and there wasn't a shared understanding of silence or space. Any distance I tried to create had to be explicitly requested by me, which felt uncomfortable because it felt like he wanted to spend time together continuously. During his visit, we also had very emotional conversations. He has mentioned having difficulty with managing anger and aggression, mostly emotionally, not physically, and recently experienced physical violence from a family member. He seemed generally angry at the world, and I was triggered because I value personal accountability. Believe that people often act badly due to past experiences, but that doesn't justify harming others. He framed himself increasingly as a victim, as if he had no agency and everyone else was at fault. I felt like I needed to defend the world from him, and he wanted to burn everything down to the ground. There was a desperation in his version of the world that I frankly could not handle in that moment, which led me to be very defensive and argue points just out of principle. I also was not very good at handling my own emotions. I felt emotionally numb. I only knew that I liked him theoretically. I didn't feel it in the moment. Honestly, I found myself questioning whether I actually wanted his friendship in my life. I was exhausted, overstimulated, and frustrated. I tried to announce when I needed space, but he didn't always understand or respond in a way that helped. I found myself arguing more out of principle and defensiveness than reflection. My main problem wasn't the content of our conversation, it was the dynamic of the visit itself, which left me drained and feeling unsupported. In the messages that followed the visit, he expressed that he recognizes some of his behavior was hurtful and said he didn't want unresolved issues between us. However, his message focused almost entirely on explaining his intentions, defending his actions, and asking for clarification on the conversation content. He framed the issue as mostly about the content of what was said rather than the overall impact of the visit on me. Reading this made me feel unseen and misunderstood because the core problem for me was the emotional burden and lack of support during the visit, not one of the discussion topics. I realized that in the moment I could not regulate my own emotions, let alone manage his. He asked me a lot if he should leave me alone or if he should go home earlier, but I was unable to recognize what I really needed and overall didn't want to be impolite. I said I didn't want to kick him out, which in hindsight might not be the same as I want you to stay. In hindsight, I wish for someone not only who communicated with me, but also acted proactively. Someone who recognized my problems and, e.g., told me to lay down and managed the level of contact with me, rather than leaving me with all the decisions. His questions, while well-intentioned, were often more stressful than helpful because I didn't have the capacity to answer them adequately. I also couldn't absorb or respond to his emotions effectively. When he resisted the idea of therapy, I internally decided I could not take on that responsibility and felt my only option was to remove myself from the situation. Even simple requests or attempts to engage, like talking to me in the evening when I was already winding down, felt like clear boundary violations. I was left wondering whether I wanted this friendship at all. I recognized that I contributed partially to the difficulty. I didn't anticipate my own limits. I might not have been very thoughtful during our conversation. I honestly don't remember everything that was said, so it's possible that it was hurtful. But the visit ultimately harmed me emotionally. Currently, I'm still angry, and I recognize that I am only willing to discuss the content of the conversations once I feel truly seen and understood in the context of my experience. Do you think this is fixable? Thank you again for the amazing podcast and always providing something to look forward to at the beginning of the week. Sorry for abandoning you, but we're back. Wow, that is a lot, and that's a tough situation because I get that, right? There's like communication styles at play. There's personal space at play. I think already someone being in your space. Like I have a friend who another comic friend who like is having a friend stay with them, and it seems like it's like a friend of a friend, and she keeps being like, he's like 6'5", he takes up so much space. Like that's what she keeps it. It's like, it bugs me. He's so big. He's big all the time. It feels like I don't have my home anymore. And that's like a comics retelling, but I do think there's an element of like learning that sometimes you don't coexist the same way as all of your friends.
Yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
Was it mentioned how long the friend was staying?
I agree, because it was like, oh, a friend's coming to visit, and I was like, oh, this is clearly like an extended like trip to see them.
Yeah.
I don't know, because initially I was like, okay, it's like a weekend, and then there was so much information. I'm like, this was like 6 months. How long was this visit?
I think for me, because I am introverted in the way I need to recharge from, like, we love to go out, but I'm like, oh, and then I need to sit at home and be silent for like, So for me, if I know, because they clearly knew that this person was coming, so I'm like, because of that, I'm taking the day before off from other stuff. And not that that is anyone's fault, but I'm like, oh, but you do know how your brain works, and you do know that you need that, so I would definitely have made sure to like recharge first, because I know someone's about to be in my personal space.
Right. Yeah. It seems like it was just combined with this, bicycle accident, and I think it was just one of those like perfect storm moments. Yeah. But I do, I think that's why I kind of contributed to people not like vibing well, because on the one hand, I get the idea of being like, I obviously want to be alone right now. Why do I have to keep telling you this? But I also get the idea of like, hey, we're in the same space. Let's hang.
Yeah, I'm here to visit you specifically.
So like I see both sides of this, but also when we got to the talking about this friend and the anger and the woe is me and the world and all this stuff, that is always such an interesting, you know, dichotomy when you're kind of like having a friend vent to you and it's like, oh well, I think there's some things you can do to help with this problem. And then we got to the point where you mentioned he's resistant to therapy, and I was like, well, that was the suggestion I was kind of working towards based on everything you were saying, because I do think that is true, where you just have sometimes people they've been through a lot, and then they're like, well, fuck it. You know, I'm like, life dealt me this card, so I'm gonna play. And it's like, but that's like life in the universe and not the individual people who are like meeting you for the first time, who have never met you or done anything to you. Like, that is a good perspective to have when you're playing Arc Raiders and you get killed near an extract and you're like, all right, next round, I'm coming in, I'm gonna light these, I'm gonna light anyone up on sight.
Well,
no, go for it.
I will say two things. One, you should never make decisions when you are emotionally distressed beforehand. Like, what is it? Make sure you're not hungry, sleepy.
Oh, the halt. Yeah. It's hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
Yeah, so I think really you need to
My
just
20s
wait.
was making decisions exclusively on those 4 things.
But I was like, if you're deciding if you still want to maintain this friendship, don't do it currently.
Yeah, I think you have to wait till this event passes.
And I will say, they were like, I don't want to have this conversation with someone until I feel hurt, until I feel this. But I think to get all those things, you have to be having the conversation.
Well, I think the way I was looking at it is like, that is the conversation.
Yeah.
It seems like whatever the content is, and I think you should flat out be like, hey, that's not what this was. I think what is definitely going to help is being clear and direct about what the actual issue is, and not try and like fix it from the kind of like attempted, fixing of this non-issue that is not what it is. Because like, even reading through this, a lot of the problems really were coming from his behavior. And there's something I like to call 80-20 that actually came from another roommate, that he would say this because there was this roommate that they just did not vibe. They did not like each other. And like, this roommate could be annoying. Like, definitely was like, woke up, as soon as they woke up, whistled their way to the kitchen.
Oh
like, no matter what time it was. And
Murder.
And so, so like, he was like, he would like call himself out where he's like, this thing I'm mad about isn't that big of a deal, but we're already at 80-20. And what 80-20 meant is like, if 80% of what someone does makes you mad, then the other 20 is going to make you mad too, to make it 100%. Like, it doesn't matter that the 20% actually isn't annoying, because 80% of what this person does makes you mad. And I feel like that's almost like a barometer that can go with anyone, where it's like, how mad have they made you recently? And like, it seems like, he's not giving you personal space. He's being extroverted. He's probably has like to me, it feels like I'm reading an email about me. Just because like, especially at my like highest unmedicated, unchecked ADHD, and not to try and diagnose someone over an email, but it like, I had a lot of those behaviors where it's like, oh, I'm ready to talk right now. Also, I'm trying to go, and I'm pissed off about this thing.
I'd be doing that in the morning if he wakes up and I'm like, hey, I got some shit to say to you. Good morning, open your eyes right now.
And I think, like,
oh no, is that ADHD? Fuck.
I had like
that to do.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I remember, one of my partners was like, very much like, I was like staying with them when I was out of town, and they were very much like, oh, like, cause I was like, I like to like, do morning stuff for a little bit and then like I'm just like, all right, up and at 'em, let's go. And they're very much like, oh, like I like the lazy morning start and all this stuff, and that is like the like peak intimacy time for me. So like having that is very important to me. So essentially being like, if you're like planning to come through, like making sure there's time for that and not.
Wait, hold on, can I do that? Because sometimes you just be getting out of bed. I'm like, what the hell? Bye.
And that's me. I'm just like up and at 'em. When I'm like, I'm the Undertaker. When I'm awake, I'm like, ding, it's time to start bullshit.
You mean my favorite childhood wrestler? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. So
My girlfriend and I go through that. She is very much. I am not a morning person. I cannot function in the morning at all. So there's a lot of times where we wake up and she's like ready to be like, hi, I've been waiting for you to wake up and like I want to talk to you. And I am very like, and I'm similar to you where I'm introverted. I need to recharge by disassociating. And so I need that recharge time in the morning. And we're learning, how do we find like this healthy in the middle compromise of like, because I know I can't have it my way because I'm the kind of introvert where I could go long periods without interaction, but then at the same time I know like I want to like fulfill my partner's needs and stuff. So figuring out that area in the middle, and to go back to the listener of like where those conversations are important to have of like, how can we figure out a way where one person's not having to like overspend what their capabilities are, but also making sure that the other person feels seen and heard and can get the interaction that they need, but in a way that doesn't feel like someone's sacrificing what they are.
Yeah, 100%. And I truly believe in the current time, the era of where we are with how mainstream understanding neurodivergences, social dynamics, and our mental health, that it is completely valid to be like, hey, I need personal space. This is what I need, because I don't think there's nothing wrong with you wanting that, but I do think it is something that does have to be stated.
Yeah.
I think
was it stated?
I think
It seems that it was.
It seems like it was.
Yeah, it seems like it was, but I think they were kind of saying like, they felt like they always had to like tell them.
Yeah.
And I think, it's you can set that like, that expectation by setting a rule almost, where it's like, hey, if I'm doing this, I kind of want to be by myself. If I'm doing this, because I think when you're doing like, hey, can I have time for myself? Then some people will take it for like, okay, at this moment, that's so I'm gonna give you that now. But if you're like, no, I need time to do this, like very early in our relationship, and especially because of, the type of relationship we have, M's very much like, okay, if I need like time to recharge and I can recharge with you, but that means like if we're out and we're doing stuff with a bunch of people, and like don't be trying to like plan a threesome like right around then. It's just like I need that time to kind of like recharge before I can go and do it. And with me, I just am just like battery in my back, let's go. So like having that conversation then allowed me to hold space and also like, consider checking in. And I think after you've kind of had a conversation like that, where you kind of lay it out, the expectations and the boundaries and what you need and the reasons why, at that point, when someone keeps, moving past it, is where you can start to take umbrage, and you really don't have to say much besides, hey, I told you this is kind of what I needed, and I'm not getting that, so this isn't going to work.
Yeah. Listening to that whole thing, it's like I'm like, I fear I don't have much valuable advice in this scenario, because truly, like, so much of what was described there is like my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, I am very guarded with, especially inviting someone into my home, like my space.
Yeah.
Like, I would, if I had set that boundary and then the behavior and the boundary was pushed, really, I mean, especially if there are guests in my house and that boundary was even pushed on like mildly, I am the bitch who would be like, I'm gonna have to ask
Well,
you to go
you're not
find a hotel
you're
room.
not a bitch.
Yeah.
You are
Like-
holding space for
You're
yourself.
setting boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly, I really have like a very short leash with like that kind of stuff. Like,
But I think that's very important, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I tend to be someone who like overdoes it in the sense on the other end of that because I'm so used to people feeling like they can't say it and all this, and I just one of my favorite things is like I am not afraid to set boundaries and tell you what I don't like. That is what I like to hear, just as a friend, a partner, a dom. Like that lets me know, like, okay, we're good, because I think there is this element of just the society has made so many people pleasers that they don't feel comfortable like asking that. And as any good friend, any good friend wants that. Any good friend wants to like be making you feel comfortable, safe, and heard. So it isn't a big deal when you state that.
yeah.
I would say, as someone who has struggled with setting boundaries and enforcing them, that is a pride point.
Yeah.
To be able to have a short leash and like enforce it, that is my
Years of practice and trial and failure, I would say. Like, yeah.
years and years. My boundaries were as strong as wet toilet paper, and now it's gotten better. It's gotten, shout out to all the therapists I've had. So I would say that's something to be proud of. But totally, it's your sanctuary. And if someone violates your sanctuary, then like when they're gone, like that negative energy stays.
It does.
Yeah.
It very much does. Yeah.
So it's important to like enforce, like, hey, if you violate how comforting and peaceful my home is, get the fuck out of my house.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into our last question from Reddit. And I feel like I'm picking this one because this kind of fits, I think, a theme that we're hitting this episode.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this one is how to deal with immaturity in conflict resolution. Okay, so I'm dealing with a situation where I, female 23, and my boyfriend, male 28, have been having a series of disagreements over absolutely silly things. It's not about differences in values or disrespect or anything like that. It's really silly stuff, usually caused by poor communication. I have some issues related to retroactive jealousy. An ex of mine used to talk a lot about his ex, and that kind of never fully healed. And it seems like my boyfriend loves to make jokes or comments about it. When I say I don't think certain comments are necessary, he gets upset and we end up fighting. For example, when I mess up with him, say something a bit rude or defensive, I apologize and say it won't happen again. But then he does something to poke at me and make me feel it on my own skin. I think this is very childish on both sides, and I'd like advice on how to fix this, or learn how to deal with these situations more calmly without immediately considering a breakup, because in every other aspect we are so good together. Unfortunately, it feels like things have started to pile up, and every day there's a fight over a misread message or something like that, and unfortunately, I recognize that he is a bit too proud to admit when he's failing at something. So basically, I need to find a way to deal with this on my own.
This guy sucks. This guy is a turd.
I literally, to quote the Read podcast, their catchphrase is "break up with him."
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, I hate when people are like, I expect you to act a certain way with me, but I get to do whatever I want back.
Yeah.
And that is what's happening here. Of like, it broke my heart, honestly, hearing you be like, oh, when I mess up, I take accountability and this, and that.
Yeah.
But then he makes comments and pokes at me and.
The intentional button pushing.
Yeah.
Like I was in a relationship like that, and it I will say, like, it's kind of hard to see that purely like what's going on when you're in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I was out of that relationship, I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, also like it is the feel it in my own skin is in quotes, which means this is something he's said.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, you're trying to be like, see, how do you like it? And to me, I'm like, if you do conflict resolution, and you move beyond it, and you're coming back to the conflict, then you've totally negated it being resolved.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, if you cannot let a conflict be resolved, there's no reason to stay with that person, because that person's going to keep bringing it up. And
it will escalate. That's also my personal one. Like this person will get more manipulative all the time. Bad news bears.
No, go ahead.
My therapist, shout out to Eileen, she said, she's always told me, and this is something she said to me multiple times, she's like, apologies are for mistakes, not choices.
Ooh,
like,
bars.
first time, that is a mistake. If you keep doing it, that's a choice.
I'm sorry, I love how therapists will, do you do therapy in person or via Zoom?
Zoom.
I love when therapists say shit that, like, I remember there's been times where multiple therapists of mine has said shit, and I have slid down in my chair so much that you no longer see me on the camera.
Oh, he melted into a puddle.
And then I sit back up, I'm like, first and foremost, respectfully, go fuck yourself. Second of all, this is why I pay you. That's bars right there.
I think
she was like, if it happens once, that's a mistake, and you or the other person can apologize for it. But if it keeps happening, that's a choice someone is making to do. And that, like, what this man's doing is a choice.
Yes, because the writer even pointed out, like, everything else is perfect. It's just this one thing. And it's like, but this one thing
is huge.
That really threw me.
Well,
It's like,
you remember?
everything that's fun is fun, but what the stuff that requires work is terrible.
Everything else is perfect, but he delights in mentally torturing me. Like, what?
Well, remember how we said we've read so many of these, and there's certain things you see, and that's what I mean. Like there's typically a so when we don't get but everything else is perfect. I'm like, damn, you're not even trying to save this relationship. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then also, like, when someone is usually talking about being accosted about something or a complaint made, like even right here, she's like, but I do this. And in that first one, that guy never mentioned a thing he did. That's why I was like, But that is like, there's kind of like a language to reading these. And really, when you're thinking about it, right? I've revealed before that in a past relationship, I created a throwaway account to post on one of these advice, and really, it is, when you do that, you should just, like, you're at the wit's end.
You know you can't admit it to yourself.
You did the burner phone version for Reddit.
Yes, and I did a throwaway account.
Almost all of these are burner accounts that people post
everyone
on.
always does their own burner accounts. But like, you go here and you just know the headspace where you're just like, okay, I'm trying to give enough information. I'm also not trying to give too, like, sometimes you're like, I'm not trying to give too much so people can know it's me. But it is so interesting. Yeah, this person sucks. There really isn't. I cannot get with someone who lets a conflict resolve and like resurrects it. We've said it many times on this pod too, where it's like, if you're trying to fix something, if you're trying to resolve a conflict, then it ends when you do that, and you can no longer bring it up. It's the thing too, where it's like, if you're choosing to get back with someone who cheated on you, it's like you have to let it go. Because the fact of the matter is this, is like, if you can't trust them, then don't get back with them. They've already, betrayed your trust.
Right.
But the moment you're like, okay, I'm gonna give this a shot, it doesn't get to be your get out of jail free card. It doesn't get to be your thing you get to keep leaning on. It doesn't get to be the button you press to get like whatever you want from that partner anymore. Right. You have to move beyond it, because when you do that and you're constantly bringing up the thing that has happened, then you're not moving forward in the relationship. And this is why it's built up, is because this guy keeps dragging you back into these arguments. You told him, hey, I don't like this thing because of a past experience with an ex, and he does it?
Yeah.
Like that already is like, the darkest of red flags.
I was like, I do have advice for that specifically, not for this relationship. She should break up with him. Yeah. But for her next relationship, especially because of this one, I think the thing I learned the most in therapy and through having healthy relationships is all people are different people.
Yeah.
You can have this baggage, but you have to figure out how to let that go on your own because that has nothing to do with the person you're dating.
Shout out to that was a part in Ted Lasso where like Ted Lasso he was talking about how he's afraid of therapists because his ex-wife started seeing a therapist and then led to their divorce. And then his like coaching mate was just like, hey, what is it that we always say? And he was like, literally what you just said.
All people are different
All people are different
That's so
people.
funny.
Which is just like, that's so true. So many people are like, well, my ex did this and that. It's like, I've been just like the hardest relationship is always your first healthy relationship.
Yeah.
After a toxic one. And I'm in a very healthy relationship right now. And I'm a firm believer of healthy relationships not only help you heal, but they also make you realize what about you is like, oh, this is a problem that I need to work on with
When I
myself.
started dating, I was like, oh no, am I the fucking problem? Shit.
Yeah.
Well, because it's like
Well, when you're in a really toxic relationship, you get trained on bad coping
Yes.
mechanisms, essentially.
Because
It's
it's
becomes
survival.
a necessity. To a degree, it's just PTSD.
Yeah.
And so that's like also really concerning with this person. I'm like, no, get out. Not like like fuck this guy. Like absolutely, but also like get out ASAP because this is like you are training your brain to have to
That's why I was like, for the next one, take this.
Exactly.
well, because what I was also gonna say is like, yeah, that is like a very huge thing too when you think about it is in our DNA as humans, the number one thing we learn everything we do from childbirth is damage control. We are trying not to. We touch something hot, we never touch it again. And so we know that happens on a very like physical level, but we don't realize it happens on a very mental level. So all these times, when we're like, well, this, and this is making me very anxious because this has happened, and it's like, yeah, because when that person did it, that happened. But that doesn't mean that this person will do it.
Exactly.
But then there is sometimes where it's like, oh, I'm watching these patterns. These are the patterns of an abuser. I'm gonna get out. I think it's very hard because it's a thing where, unfortunately, it'll never be a one size fits all. You're gonna have to approach it differently. And I think the way that kind of cuts through it very easily, to say it for the 1 millionth time on this pod, is talking to your partner and being open about those things. Saying things like, hey, when this happens, this makes me nervous. When you do this, I really don't like it because this has happened to me. And
Which is always scary to share. But if you do it and you get the response you're looking for, it is safe to keep doing that. And if you get the response that you don't want where they freak out, leave them then.
Right.
Yeah, which I don't know, something tells me.
you should definitely leave this guy. I mean, you're almost 30 pulling this shit.
Well, also, she's 23 and he's 28.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's
I missed that.
Fine age gap, but I'm like, you're almost 30 pulling this shit.
That's what I mean. You should be the one who's like, he should be the one who's like, oh, I should be trying to make myself better because I am an adult.
Yeah. Okay, well, that is the pod. So that was our last, our last question. We're happy to be back. Thanks for watching. This is on YouTube. This is the videos on Spotify, and it's where you're listening to it now if you're not on either of those places. But I will say, it feels good to be back. Is there anything you want to promote before we get out of here? Yeah, just follow me at Chris Mejia Comedy on Instagram and TikTok, at Topher Mejia on Twitter and Twitch. I'm trying to get back into streaming, so follow me on that. Play games and do fun stuff like tier ranking, how bangable the Muppets are. And then I also have a podcast at The Down Bad Show that I host with my homie Quincy Yellman. We just talk about things we're down bad about. So check that out. And that's it for me. Yeah. When is this coming out? This is Monday. If you live in Highland Park or near Highland Park, I am starting a new comedy show at the Cheerio Collective on February 20th called Good Comedy. Get a load of this guy. Didn't even let me know. Didn't even let me know. Yeah. No, I'm so glad y'all are bringing good comedy to LA. Good Comedy is the show where I think we first met.
And the first one, I'm really nervous about if I'm actually going to be able to get people to come to the show.
Well,
if it's a
don't worry.
success, would love to have you on.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll talk about it. I got some things, but also, I'll be touring this summer, and Chris will be opening for a bunch of the shows. So definitely come there. Sorry, Siri, not to delay your plugs.
We need to plug. Yeah. I'm patient. Well, I do porn, so if that's what you want to see.
If you're an adult,
SiriDahl.com has links to everything. But if you want to follow me on more safer workplaces, the Siri Dahl again on Instagram. I fuck Twitter. I only dead name Twitter. Fuck it. Blue Sky though. I'm SiriDahl.com. I have like one of those, website username thing. Just search Siri Dahl on Blue Sky.
Yeah, and then you have First Thirst, your podcast.
Yes, and I also have a podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2026.
Yeah. Look, we podcasted it up.
That's how we live now.
It's good stuff.
My podcast is called First Thirst. You can find all the links to it at firstthirstpod.com. I interview people about their earliest that they can possibly remember celebrity crush, and it is a hoot.
Yes, it
That's
really
fun.
is. Yeah, and the live shows rock
Haunting
too.
hoot sometimes.
Yeah.
yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know if there's anything else.
Okay. Yeah. If not, we'll just put it in the.
Put it in the show notes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.